Our guests today are two stalwarts, one from the corporate side and the other famous cricketer. We have with us Sanjiv Navangul, the managing director at BSV, a company which is now part of Mankind Pharma, and the well-known cricketer Ajinkya Rahane, known for his elegant batting style and quiet approach on the field. In this conversation, we will try to understand from Mr. Navangul how he has been able to manage the corporate side, turned around companies, and has been a mentor to so many leaders. And from Ajinkya Rahane, we will try to understand how he's been able to manage the pressure on the field. It's Friday, the 3rd of April. I am your host and ET's Pharma editor, Vikas Dandekar. This is the Morning Brief. We'll start with you. How do you feel now, about 30 years plus, or maybe even more?
37.
Having run large organizations, being part of a fabulous turnaround of BSV and now being part of Mankind. What have been the main traits of this long journey?
I think as healthcare allows you to understand one thing very acutely, and that is that you live so that you can better somebody else's life. And therefore, the cause takes over everything that you think of. So, if you are a serious healthcare professional, the benefit and the satisfaction that you derive is out of the fact that you are always doing good to people and society. And that has probably been a very big learning over a period of time. And secondly is the humbleness that when you see suffering around you, you understand the humbleness of what God gives in terms of health, wellness, and a good life. So you value life in a much better way compared to otherwise that you would have valued. The third thing that you see is leadership in surroundings of healthcare actually have to be molded and shaped in a way to understand that your work matters to society. So you carry the additional responsibility, but not the burden of delivering the right thing for society.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll expand on that a little more. So, Ajinkya, to you, you face tremendous crowd pressure, how you bat, how you actually look at a catch in thousands of people all staring at you. What are the things that you actually feel at that time? How do you manage that stress level going up?
See, I feel the stress, the pressure, the expectations are always there. So when you represent your country, it's going to be there. So as a player, you have to accept that. Once you accept that, everything becomes really easy. So first of all, it's an honor, always an honor to represent your country, something doing special for your country. From the cricketing point of view for me. So I'm really grateful that I'm actually able to do that with cricket, from cricket. I'm able to represent my country. So pressure wise, I felt you cannot actually do in one go. It's the journey, it's the experience. You learn throughout your journey. When I started playing cricket, my dream was always about representing Mumbai first in Ranji Trophy and then go and representing India. So throughout my journey, for me, it was always about how can I contribute to the team. Now, if you can focus your goal, contributing towards your team, your pressure, your stress automatically reduces. So once we step on the field, the people's noise, the expectations, the chairs, that actually motivates me. So you've built your career in a way which is staggered, and at the same time you've taken a lot of risks. At the same time, you also had difference of opinions from just following the chosen path which others have done. I remember some of the milestones, the launch of Januvia with your leadership, the change over to Johnson & Johnson. There also the discussions you had with bedaquiline on a very key anti-TB drug.
And then probably the peaking of all of that was the MS, the deal that Mankind did with BSV. In all of this, how did you really feel that this is the way to go forward? Was there a plan or it just happened?
So, because in a way there is a plan, in a way it is circumstantial. Yeah. So, if you look at the early phase that I worked on, I had entrepreneurship work given to me, or always a risk based difficult situation thrown at me. Yeah. So, when I started off, we had a loss making API plant in Hex. We turned that around, and I had to go into international business. To when USSR disintegrated, we had to be in those markets in a strong way. So it was again something new was getting built. Aventis formation happened. I was the project lead for Aventis formation. So all these were very challenging, difficult assignments. So when I joined MSD, I was already ready. I understood that look, managing things in crisis or developing something or creating something was something that I have experienced. So then what happens is then when you get an opportunity, like what we got an opportunity during that time with Januvia, with Gardasil, was something godsend. You don't get such opportunities so easily to change markets, to change behavior, to change patient behavior, to change doctor behavior. So many things were possible. And what I said was that if I have learned so much over the years, and if I don't put it into practice, then what is the use of learning all these things? There is so much opportunity to change so many things. And therefore, the whole approach was creatively do everything possible under the sun to get it done. And look, at JNG, you mentioned Bedaquilin. Imagine you come into a company, you start doing a lot of good work, but suddenly you come across Bedaquilin and say that, look, this can change one of the worst healthcare hazards of this country. Now, when you look at that opportunity, I have a product to launch which is differentiated versus saying that this can change TB patients' life in this country. Then no bar is low. Even going to, I remember going to the government and changing the whole guidelines, how to treat. Got everybody involved. I jokingly say to one senior scientist that she went on to become very big globally. And I say, look, Bedak will give you the opportunity to become big.
Very true.
so,
Absolutely.
so
Deep impact on lives.
even, I think you mentioned about BSV, you talked about the deal. To me, the deal was a culmination. I don't even think it was the most significant part of the journey. Most significant part of the journey was that India needs an R&D based company
That's true.
at the core.
But
India,
where it actually caught my attention was that I still remember the call that we had, and you said, "Abhi desh ke liye kuch karna hai." You said,
correct.
so that kind of a feeling came after being in large MNCs. That feeling came in your mind because you worked in MSD, Johnson and Johnson, Hext. Why did that happen? Did you feel like there is an opportunity? Uh, uh, BSV was actually crying for help for a change of leadership. How did that work out?
So, look, when BSV opportunity came and when we were discussing this, I was feeling guilty over the years that I've always told people that India needs to go up the value chain. That 2% of value and 14% of volume doesn't do us any credit. Being pharmacy of the world was good as a story in the past, not today. And also at the same time, the chemistry revolution was dying and the biologics changeover was happening. So I said, look, I have been telling others that do this. I've been telling government. I've been telling other companies. If I have to do it myself, what will happen? And therefore, the opportunity of BSV turnaround was also the factor that matched my dream of creating a company which is basically inherently a research and development company and looked at innovation differently. So, why not demonstrate that this can be done in this country rather than always request others to do something? Yeah, so that probably is where I told you that abhi desh ke liye kuch karna hai.
But that was a daunting challenge, isn't it? I mean, to have worked in large organizations with your portfolio all set, all the structure given to you, to jumping into something like that, which probably test your management skills of how you actually want to really turn things upside down, because that company was not going anywhere. I mean, it was actually crying for help. Somebody needed to breathe life in it. So how did that work?
So, look, I think the opportunity lay itself in the fact that it had built good platforms, but not made the platforms good enough.
Right.
And those platforms, R&D platforms, could have scaled up rapidly in a big way and had global markets at its feet. So, if that was the case, building a good team and ensuring that you have a team along with you who will believe in the same vision that you have was extremely necessary. So, I think I spent first 6 months just building the team. It was COVID. I think the
Yeah, it
team
landed at
together
a
came together and met first time after 6 months.
exactly.
Yeah, physically they met after 6 months. They had not met. Yeah. So, but look, once you have a good team around and you know that your vision is clear and you know where you're going after,
Yeah.
and knowing where you will not go,
Yeah.
then things became better. And see how the luck turns. You got an opportunity to get a high quality, get into a high quality biologics field. You get an opportunity where platforms, some rudimentary platforms have been developed around those. You get an opportunity to position yourself as a women's health company, which no other company position itself. There are very few companies now left in the world which say they are public health companies. So you could also brand yourself as a public health company. So many advantages were available. Yeah, and today, therefore, when you work hard towards it, you see that it works. It works, and rapid progress happened. And today, everybody is happy. I'm telling you, many people who are there in the team are more happy about the fact that they build, as we say, this anti-D, or they build the fertility hormones, or they build these anti-snake venoms in a different way. So they are more proud of that because the social impact is very high.
Right.
So I think opportunity exists when you want to see the better cause.
Right.
And careers are made out of fighting for a better cause.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think when Ajinkya also steps in, he doesn't step in the fact that he wants to make 100. He also believes that there are millions of people in this country who want to be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is that inherent belief that there are millions looking forward to happiness.
Right.
And how do you provide it? By the way, I still remember, how we had experience to go through it and therefore we did something. I still remember when I used to look keenly forward to him being in the India team when he started playing Ranji. Yeah. He and Rohit were my favorite players at that time. I remember, I think it was 2011 or 13 England tour, yeah, where he came in into a T20 game, and in the 2011, and the first knock he scored some 60 odd runs, tonked the bowlers, and I said, look here, these people have no international experience, but in the first game itself demonstrate that they are here and ready, and we keep on talking, I need 15 years experience to do something.
Right.
Yeah. So how much different is corporate life?
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Now, in all of the games that you have played, we get results sometimes that are not really great. You probably go through those waves. And India being a crazy for cricket country, there are so many times that we actually see a lot of criticism, and then chips are really down. How do you handle that kind of a stress at that time? It's a lot of mental pressure on you.
See, you have to understand that the Indian mentality, Indian people, they are very emotional.
Yeah, you're judged with every match.
Yeah, they are very emotional. They are so attached to uh, Indian cricket, Indian team doing so well, and through cricket, as I said, we spread happiness. So it's bound to happen. No, when we are not doing well as a team or as an individual, the criticism will be there. And as soon as you know, as quickly as you accept as a player, as a team, you have to understand that people are going to criticize you. When we do well, people appreciate us. People talk a lot about us. They worship us. So similarly, when we are not doing well, no, be ready for the criticism. I think it's about the balance. How I see it's the balance. If I can maintain the balance in ups and downs, try to see what's my goal. If I'm on the right path, no, I'll come back to again the basics. If I'm following my process, working hard on my game, trying to help people out, playing any different series, preparation wise, if you are doing it well, and after that the results are not coming our way, that is okay.
So Ajinkya, who would be your favorites, the perfect role models? A couple of names that you would like to name.
I think from cricket, I've grown up watching Rahul Dravid a lot. I mean, and people actually they compared, did the comparison between me and Rahul Dravid.
Yeah, very calm.
Very calm as well, and also my batting style. They think that
Yeah.
it was similar to Rahul Dravid,
Right.
and played many matches with him with him as well, because he used to play for South Zone that time. I was playing for West Zone, so Mumbai, and then West Zone versus South Zone. So I remember one incident. We were playing a Dulip Trophy game in Chennai,
Right.
and it was a semi-final game, and Rahul Dravid was playing. During lunchtime, I was just having lunch quietly, sitting in my place, and then there was a dressing room attendant. He came and he said, "Rahul Dravid is calling you." And I was really surprised. Oh, wow. I kept my food aside and then went and met him. And then what he said after that, he said, "I've been following your domestic performance consistently. I mean, till that time, I was not in the Indian team." So he said, "You just keep doing the work, whatever you are doing. Your time will come." And I think 1 year down the line, made my debut for Team India.
Amazing.
T20. That was his last T20, and we batted together. So, I mean, learned a lot from him on and off the field. I spoke about being humble. I think he's a guy also. Actually, you can see how humble he is and keeps life really simple. Apart from cricket, Roger Federer for me. So follow Roger Federer a lot. Got an opportunity to meet him twice, but he hardly spoke for like 5-10 minutes. But again, for him, the simplicity which he keeps after achieving so many things, respecting people. I think that's what matters a lot. Respecting people, having that, whoever you are. But I think having that respect to your opponent, to normal people. I always feel success. People always see success as how many hundreds you have scored, how many man of the matches, or the awards you get. I think success for me, I think following that process day in, day out. So sometimes you don't feel good at all. When you wake up, you feel really tired. Your body is probably telling you just take your time, don't do anything. But even after that, you're pushing yourself, going on the field and doing all the boring stuff. No boring stuff as in doing our normal stretches, the routines, the exercises, keeping our body warm, and then following the practice routines. I think every single day is different. No, as human beings, we go with so many emotions in our head. Every single day, it's completely different. But through all that, I think you are backing yourself to going out there and practicing really hard, trying to get better as a player, better as a person. I think if I'm able to do that, I feel I'm really successful. So I always focus on that. Whatever I do, getting 100 or the awards or the man of the matches, I think that's a byproduct. But I always focus on doing the things which I should do, like the controllable things, my right attitude, give my best on the field, prepare myself really well, probably 200%. So I think that is success for me. So Rahul Dravid and Roger Federer, my two role models, and one from cricket and one from tennis world. Learned a lot from them.
Your cricketing lessons, do you implement in your corporate life?
There is so much to learn, yeah.
Right.
And I'll give you a simple example. Since Ajinkya is here, first of all, I'm very jealous that he has met Roger Federer. But we were just going through the last phase of COVID. We had got a lot of stress time at BSP because we were amongst the major a player like vaccine manufacturers to help patients at that time. So the stress was high. We didn't know where are we going with it. Everybody in the team was feeling tired and thinking, what next, how to build this company. And I used to take time out with them and watch the 2021 Australia series. After the 36 all out massacre that happened, how he took the team out of it. And, I think it is one of the greatest ever performances that Indian cricket has seen. So, when you saw that, and I used to see it with the team, and then actually made people discuss that look, many difficult things will come, journey will always not be easy, everything will happen, but extraordinary things can also happen. So you learn a lot. So you also learn in corporate life because of that there are everyday distractions.
Yeah.
So if you tell me that 10 people come to my room every day and talk to me 10 things, all 10 have come to give me bad news. Nobody has come to make me happy. Yeah, they have come because they either need a shoulder or they need a solution. No other reason they come to me. Yeah, happiness is at the tea counter within themselves.
Not
No,
with the
not
CEO.
with me. So, but you learn. You learn from sport that look, it is what it is. Yeah, the expectations around you are always like this. You have to remain calm and also you are all alone. You are all alone
At the
at the
top.
top. We ought to be very grateful that sports teaches us so many things. Yeah, and also it also teaches you humbleness. I'll tell you two quick examples so that I don't take your time. But one is that I remember an interview where Borg used to win French Open and Wimbledon, and everybody used to think Borg is number one. But most of the years, at the year end, Jimmy Connors used to be number one. He used to beat him in a lot of other places. And then once he was asked at US Open when he won that what is the winning moment? He says the winning moment lasts only until the shake hand across the net and I'm on to my next conquest. Yeah. So how much he was getting into things. The second is another dear friend like him of mine, Abhinav Bindra. I asked him that when you won the gold medal at Olympics, first Indian to win a gold medal, how did it feel? He said, I was all numb. Yeah, because I just realized that it took me 16 years of hard work to get one medal. Yeah, so the realization comes to you that this moment is not this moment, but the 16 years of struggle.
So while you have actually said, how you have been influenced by sports and the examples that you shared, you've also been able to nurture a lot of leadership talent. At one time, I think you had some 6 or 7 CEOs who worked with you, all working in as CEOs in MNC. What exactly was that? How did you do that?
So, first of all, because I became what I became because people had faith in me. Some people Mr. Badri, Mr.
Of
Ramesh
course,
Subramanian, Sanat Chattopadhyay, so many people placed faith in me. And these are all big healthcare leaders. Yeah?
absolutely.
They placed a lot of faith in me, gave me a lot of opportunities. Somebody placed
Sanat is
faith
still
in me.
there in Merck, so
Yeah. So, and therefore, opportunity was given to me by keeping faith in me. Isn't it my responsibility then that I should transcend it down to people below me or people next ladder to me? I found young talent extremely exciting because they are more talented than you, first of all. You have to have the humbleness. As Sanat used to always tell me, hire somebody who can become your boss. So, that kind of talent you have to hire, yeah, first of all. So, when you hire that kind of talent, and then you have to ensure that you give them opportunity, support, allow them to fail, allow them to learn, allow them to succeed, and keep looking at what gaps they need to build themselves up. And that would mean that sometimes you have to let go of talent and say, okay, stop doing this, do this. I still remember one of the guys who was heading one of the MNCs until recently. He was not a very culture sensitive or flex person. The first thing I did was I called the Japan CEO of the company J&J in J&J, and I called him up and said, I'm sending you a great talent when the guy has no ability to flex, and you have to ensure that in Japanese culture is the extreme thing he can bear with. You have to keep him for 2 years, he will learn. The guy went there, understood what he needs to do, and I sent him with a brief. In 6 months' time, he gave a lecture to the sales team in Japanese.
amazing.
So,
Transformation happened.
you look at the current, one of the women CEOs in current MNCs. Yeah, she came to me to present in from through IMS, and I said, wait here. By evening, take your offer and go. Don't waste your time in doing analysis. Actually, do something. But then when I saw that she had built a career well, she was working well in many things, I realized she needs an experience out of the ordinary. So I actually gave her up and told her to work in med devices. I said, go to med devices for 2, 3 years, you will learn a lot. The customer there is very different and you have to work very closely with the customer in demonstration. That is very different than selling a pill or an injection. So today she is confident, she one of the better CEOs around. So what you need to do is understand that you have been given a responsibility to build the next generation.
So one question to you, Ajinkya. What we see in Indian team, for the last so many years, there is always an element of uncertainty, especially when you're under pressure. 5 wickets down, sixth wicket down, and some chunk of the runs to be scored. And you see there is a little bit of a change in the body movement. The language itself shows that, things are not vis-a-vis. You see some of the other teams, like mostly Australia, New Zealand, even if there is a pressure, there is some confidence that, you will come back in the game. Even if it is 8th wicket down, 9th wicket down, you have that kind of a traditional bowler can also actually swing the game. Do you feel the same? I mean, do you think that is a kind of a mental strength that actually lacks in our team?
No, I don't think so. I mean, recently, if you have seen Indian cricket, especially talking about the Test cricket, last you take 7, 8 years. Yes, last couple of series were not didn't go our way, but I think apart from that, I think we were so good in Test cricket. I remember as a young team, we started in 2013. Probably the transition started from 2013 when all the seniors they retired, and then we took over. And then from there onwards, the journey was tough. 2013, we were ranked 7th that time. But then after that, I think 2015, 16, then we became number 1, and then we were number 1 for almost like 7 years as a team. What happens is in cricket, you are going to go through that phase. I don't think there is some uncertainty in the team. No, when things are not going your way, or teams where the talks are always going to happen. You have to accept that the talks are always going to happen. How I see at this moment Indian team, doing really well. Yes, the transition again is happening. So you have to give basically time to the players as well. Players needs time because now there are 3 formats are involved. No, 10 years back, probably no T20 was there, but
It's mostly 50-50.
mostly 50 and then Test
matches.
cricket. Now you have to understand that all the players who are playing the Test format, they're also playing T20 cricket. Coming from T20 cricket to Test cricket is never easy. People think, यार, what is it happening? ये क्या हो रहा है? ऐसे क्यों खेल रहा है? But playing shots in T20 and suddenly you're playing Test cricket, adjusting your mind, it's never easy at all. That's why you see there's so many players are playing shots in Test cricket. The reason is the T20. And also why we are doing well in white ball cricket, the IPL. IPL has given us the platform, the opportunity to do so well. Freedom to play, and also the experience what we share with other players, the international players. So that's why we are so good in white ball, especially T20 and 50 over. But Test cricket, red ball is just a long format. You have to be there each and every session, each and every day. Try and read the situation, try and read the conditions. The game can change within a session. The game can change within an hour. So I think being proactive is really important in Test cricket. And for this generation who are playing at this moment, I think they will need to take time because, as I said, they're playing T20 cricket a lot. They're playing white ball cricket a lot.
Right.
And this recent generation, they are not getting that much of time because so much of games are happening, so much of cricket is happening. I think probably for them is allowing them, if people don't judge them too quickly, I think things will be okay.
I forgot to ask you about your role model.
Yeah, I think as somebody who is now at a particular age, I can tell you that role models keep changing. Yeah, which is something I have learned over a period of time. There have been so many people in my life I have admired a lot. I think if you ask me, I learned empathy from a person people may not have heard. There was a lady called Sindhuta Isakwal. Yeah, I've learned empathy from her story. Yeah, I went and gone and met her. Yeah, just because I wanted to pay my respect to a person having such empathy. Yeah, so it is something fascinating. You have to learn. There's so many. I can tell you also. How to forget oneself and give pleasure to everybody by doing something which you do best. I learned from the singer Bhimsen Joshi. You see him singing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't think, and he mentioned it personally to me. He mentioned personally when I said that you sometimes close your eyes while singing. He said, "You do you know? I don't even know that I'm singing in front of an audience." He said, "आत्मा
Immersive.
जब परमात्मा से बात करता है, तभी अच्छा संगीत होता है." These were his words. So always keep learning. So role models is something that come across your life in everyday life. Keep looking for who can teach you well, and keep learning.
Any regrets that you have, which you have probably, could have done better? How do you, you know, describe?
No regrets. No
No
regrets.
regrets. Whatever has happened is perfectly fine. Sir, to you?
Yeah, I always believe
Yeah.
that whatever is happening around you or with you is happening for your own good. As Sanjeev also said, you have to look at it in a positive way. Uh, Regret, for me, I'll just explain it. When regret will happen, if I'm not preparing myself well, if I'm not practicing hard, if I'm not doing all the right things, if I'm not helping the people, the needy people. No, because of cricket, I can do so many things. I can spread happiness. I can help people. If I'm not doing that, then there is no, I'll feel the regret. But as I said, there is no regret.
I can tell you, most people who tend to do okay in life have no regrets. And the reason they have no regrets is because for them, when driving, they don't have a rear view mirror. They always are looking at tomorrow, and tomorrow always brings hope. Yeah, so I don't think you will come across many people who have in walks of life who are doing okay will talk so much about regrets.
Yeah, I think so. True. Yeah, so one question which comes to mind and I had missed. So, how do you actually uh, engage yourself apart from your passion of cricket? What else do you like to do?
I'm really passionate about the agriculture, because I come from a farming family. I've seen my grandmother working hard, my grandfather also working hard, uncle working hard in the farms, wake up early 5 o'clock, going there, being in the farms throughout the day and come back. So I have seen through them, because as a kid I used to visit my grandmother and during a summer holiday. So in 2014, I remember I read an article about farmers, and then that actually probably I was really disturbed with that article. I don't want to go in the details, but no, because I come from a farming family, I thought if I can contribute at least 1% to the farmer community, if that can help. Agriculture, the farmers, they're the backbone of our country. We have to accept that. So if I can contribute to them, something. So that will be really great. So that journey actually started from there, from 2014. I started individually. Then obviously then through with our friends, I met MCCIA, one of our friend who's the director general. So now he's helping me. With Sanjeev also, we are doing so many good things. So I've been introduced to healthcare sector as well. Why I'm saying this, because as I said, because of cricket, I got everything. No, and cricket is not everything for me, just one part of my life. I think the journey continues from here. It's always about what can I give and how can I give to the society, to the community. So I think through agriculture, if I can spread awareness, basically try and help people, try and bring like-minded people together, and farmers should be getting what they what they deserve. So I think the initiative is on that. I also invested in agri-tech sector, which directly helps farmer. Also, I'm on the global ambassador for Rainforest Alliance. It's basically regenerating forest and agriculture. You just attended the climate week. So the main thing is to spread awareness.
Wonderful. Your turn. I know you read a lot because one of the meetings you gave me 4 books.
He is
So,
into music, huh? Asking.
yeah,
Inna vichara.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so, see, look, music, I'll tell you the reason why I got into music is because it gave me the maximum pleasure when whenever I was alone. Yeah, so if you ask me when I was alone, what gave me the maximum pleasure was music. Yeah. And then I tried to think deeper why it happens. And I started realizing that India's ancient history, all our texts are conveyed in music form, always. And why was it so then? Even a mother speaks to the child in the womb in terms of a song. Why does that happen? And then you realize the intertwining of Hindustani classical music and the social fabric of India. Yeah, they're deeply connected. And I started researching on it. So I'm doing a lot of research for a number of years on this. Maybe one day, because you can train me in writing, how to write a book on it. But I've done a lot of research. I have a lot of notes on it now. And that also helped me understand that music keeps you going and keeps you young. So now I'm in a situation to help artists or do something for them. So I'm trying to now get involved and trying to see that build a community of young artists and say, okay, what can I do for them? Where can I help them? Because it will give me a more pleasure, and it will also keep my interest in music alive and keep doing some things. So yes, it's probably a hidden hobby, but it's purely highly personal and internalized hobby to ensure that I get, and I get a lot out of it. I get a lot of happiness out of it. So it's nice. So that's why music plays a part in my life, but it's all very too much, let's say, bound within myself.
It's a
Such an
wonderful thing to have both of you from different walks of life, but tremendously successful, great mentors and leaders who've actually led from the front by example. So I think this is exactly what we were actually discussing right from the beginning. So it's a blending and the fusion of the two sides, but the lessons are immense. So thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it for today. You were listening to this episode on The Morning Brief. It was produced by Vinay Joshi and Rajas Nayak, sound designed by Amrit Reggie and Indranil Bhattacharjee. The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Stay tuned.